Hi all, happy Monday. I wanted to go over this week's announcements and reminders for class. I hope y'all are staying warm. I'm really enjoying all this cold weather that we're having over the past month and a half or so. All right, so I want to begin with talking about discussion board. There's been a little bit of confusion about the number of posts, as well as when to post and the word count. Okay. And so with the discussion board, as I've mentioned in the past, what's important is that you all post early and often. Okay. I know that we live very busy lives and it's difficult to post for the discussion board, and it becomes even more difficult to keep up with it, especially if you are waiting until the middle or end of the week to begin your posting. Okay. So my best suggestion is to try to post on Monday or Tuesday of the week. Okay. And that should probably be your response to the discussion board prompt. Okay. And the prompt is what I place in the discussion board to help generate discussion. So, what's preferable is that you all post on Monday or Tuesday of the week, and then from there, you have the rest of the week to respond to one another in terms of issuing your own response postings. Okay, so the way that it works is that there are a minimum. Okay, so in order to receive points, you have to have a minimum of three postings. One is going to be your initial response to the discussion board prompt. Okay, so what's in the discussion board? Your first posting is going to be your response to that. Okay, some of you will have to do a video, and that depends on where you are in terms of the video rotation when that's located in your individual learning community, discussion board page. Okay, so there should be a schedule there that tells you what week is your week to do the video. Okay, and that video is your response to the discussion board prompt. So that's response one. Okay, then you have two additional responses. Okay, and these responses should be to two separate members of your learning community. So you have one posting. So after you post your video or your written response to the discussion board prompt, then you read through what everyone else has posted, and then you choose two separate learning community members, and then you will respond at least one time to each. Okay, and those written responses have to be a minimum of 250 words. Okay. So you have your discussion board prompt response, and if you're writing that, then it's a minimum of 250 words. And if you're not writing and it's your week to do the video, then you do the video. Once you read through everyone's discussion board prompt responses, then you say, "Oh, I'm going to read Jen's and I'm going to respond to Jen." Okay, that should be 250 words. And you say, "Oh, okay, now I'm going to read Michael's. I'm going to respond to Michael, and that's going to be 250 words. Okay, so the reason why I want you to write one discussion board, one response posting to two separate members of your learning community is to ensure that everyone is reading through each other's responses and then responding. Okay, and so if you have two or three responses to the same individual, well, then there's not much discussion taking place amongst the learning community. Okay, and so I want to make sure that you all understand that it's three responses. One is to the discussion board prompt, and then two additional responses to two additional responses, one each. Okay, one each to a learning community member. Okay, so that's for a total of three responses. I hope that is helpful. Okay. All right. And so at minimum, you should have written 750 word response total. Okay. So 750 word response across, that word count will be across the three postings. If you're doing all written, and again, if you're doing a video and two written, well, then you would have to write 500 words total. And this is again at minimum, okay, at minimum. There's no rule against you all writing more than 3 responses in terms of you writing a response to the discussion board prompt, and then you may choose to respond to 3 or 4 members of your learning community. Okay, but once you do your response postings to 2 separate members of your learning community at 250 words, well, then your additional responses can be less than 250. Okay, so they can be less than 250. Once you respond to 2 separate members of your learning community at 250 words. So, so I really encourage you all to post a little bit earlier in the week. I set the Wednesday date for those that are doing the video, so that way folks have enough time to at least watch the video and respond to those that are doing the video. And I give you until Saturday, so that way you have the entire week to post all of your responses. I don't want to implement, a Wednesday. I don't want to implement that you all have to have a response by Wednesday, then again by Saturday. That's micromanaging. I just don't feel that. You all are doctoral students, and I don't think that that's necessary. So, but I am asking and urging you all to begin to post a little bit earlier in the week, because when you wait until Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, then all the discussion happens, Friday, Saturday, right before midnight, and then some students get stuck in terms of being able to have all their postings in. So I sent a number of emails on Saturday because I checked the discussion board periodically. So I sent a number of emails on Saturday, just checking in with students, just to make sure that you all get your discussion board postings in, because I don't want you all leaving points on the table. I don't. So again, there's something to be mindful of. Maybe set up in your calendar a reminder to post, okay? So that way you can have your postings in terms of staggering them in a way where you're able to post and then read and then post and then read and then post, okay? Beyond that, you can find the week 4 video, which is what you're watching now, in the week 4 folder. And then also you have your reflexive journal. And so I had some questions about the reflexive journal. Primarily, I believe I talked a little bit about it in one of the previous videos, but the reflexive journal is, it's basically you're keeping notes about your experience in the research course. What has been, how have you evolved? How have you grown as a researcher over the time that you are taking this class? What have been some epiphany moments for you in terms of how research relates to your day-to-day responsibilities? So you're journaling your way through, okay, this semester, pertaining to your own research experiences and your growth as a researcher. So you might want to think a little bit about how do you view yourself as a researcher, and how has that changed over the course of taking this class, okay? What are some aspects of the course that will be usable and feasible to you in terms of your own dissertation work? So those are just some things that you can kind of write down and reflect upon. And so what I am looking for is that you are consistently kind of journaling and placing entries in the journal, preferably at least 1 per week, okay? At least 1 per week. So you can even talk a little bit about what did you find interesting about the readings, and what did you find interesting about your discussion as it pertains to the discussion board. So those are things that you can just journal about, okay? So I'm leaving it up to you all in terms of how creative that you get with it, but 1 entry per week would be ideal. And so in the syllabus we have 15, I believe we have 15 weeks or 16 weeks listed. So 1 entry per week is what's preferable, okay? This week there's a qualitative learning assessment, and so it's 5 questions, 3 points each, for a total of 15 points. That is due on Saturday by 11:59 p.m. And it covers the readings for weeks 1 through 4, which are chapters 1 through 5 of Criswell and Poth, okay, of the Criswell and Poth text. and you will have maximum 2 attempts. Okay. And the reading for this week is chapter 5 of Crystal and Path. And there will also be there's also a PowerPoint available that covers the reading. Okay. If you have any questions at all, just let me know. You can always contact me via email. You can also Skype. You can also meet via Skype or Google Hangouts. Oh, one additional thing about the discussion board. I modified the schedule for the video. So that way it's more closely aligned with the weeks that we have discussion board. For instance, next week is week 5. Okay, week 5 there's no discussion board, but there is a discussion board in week 6 and in week 8. Okay, so what I did was I modified the schedule so that way the weeks that are mentioned in the syllabus are aligned with those in your learning community. So you're going to see a slight change after this week. You'll notice that it goes from week 4 to week 6 to week 8, because there isn't a discussion board in week 7, and then from there it should be numbered correctly: 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I mean 10, 11, 12, and 13. So for week 14, there isn't going to be a video discussion board. Everyone will just have to participate in written format for week 14. Okay. All right. So let me know if you have any questions. Contact me, and I'd love to hear from y'all. All right. Take care. Bye.